bottom line is, as Nick said, it's not just injuries. There's some COVID issues related to them, so we'll get the very latest. The 49ers are sitting there with 4 wins. We discussed this yesterday. I'm not quite sure how they even got to 4. If they get to 7...
Well, the Giants was 1.
That's true.
And the Jets might have been 2.
Yes, they've done a great job against the NFC East, but then again, who hasn't? Right. If this guy gets to 7 wins, I'm being a little facetious here, but honestly, if the 49ers get to like 7 wins, 7-9, who knows what the number 7 seed in the playoffs could be this year since there's a 7 seed.
And it may be an 8 seed depending on what happens.
If they go to a 16-team schedule, there could be an 8 seed. I'm not kidding. If they finish like 7-9, I think he deserves Coach of the Year votes. I really do.
Well, yeah, I got to see who else is out there. But, yeah, he certainly is headed down that track right now. Kyle Shanahan has done a tremendous job with players in and out of the lineup, starting with game 1 against the Arizona Cardinals when people start falling like flies. And then all of a sudden you got 4 wins on the year. Typically, though, when you lose players, things start to go real bad, especially when you lose a starting quarterback. I have personal experience, as Evan, our producer, would know. We lost Vinny Testaverde first game of the year, and we couldn't get out our own way for about 7 or 8 games. And then all of a sudden, we started to click, and we got on track. It's like when you lose an important part of your team, you kind of like just walking in a fog for a long period of time. And I think when Nick Bosa got hurt, you started to say, ooh, man, they're in trouble here. And then Deebo Samuels gets hurt a little bit, and then now Jimmy Garoppolo. I believe this is Jimmy's 2nd or 3rd time this year being hurt and having to miss time.
2nd, right?
Mm-hmm, second,
yeah, with the high ankle sprain. It's so impressive to me that Nick Mullins is 1-1.
Yeah,
right?
Nick is 1-1.
Like, how is that to, as a guy, you've been around a lot of quarterbacks who come in and come out and just be ready to perform, right? I know football is next man up, but still carrying that kind of responsibility. I mean, we've seen so many other players back at QBs this year struggle with it.
It's all about coaching. It's all about coaching and understanding your personnel and your players and know who you have so you can put them in the right position to succeed. A lot of times coaches will take a guy like Nick Mullins and act like he's Tom Brady. It's like, no, he's a backup for a reason. He's not your starter for a reason. So you have to manage the situation a certain way. When you think about it, the greatest quarterback that we've seen here in the last 20 years has been one guy, Tom Brady. When Tom Brady first took over for Drew Bledsoe, it was play defense, methodically move the ball down the field, let him make 1 or 2 throws that could help us, but we're going to run the ball, we're going to play defense, and we're going to have success doing that because they knew how to manage Tom Brady. Tom Brady was a backup to Drew Bledsoe for a reason. Now, eventually, he took over. He became the starter. He learned on the job. He got into the situation, and he just became Tom Brady. And that's the way you do things. You don't all of a sudden just throw a guy in there and say, you got to do the same thing that the other guy did. It's like, no, man, that dude's a backup quarterback for a reason.
Well, that's exactly, what Minnesota did, right, with Kirk Cousins. They only threw the ball 14 times. Dalvin Cook went to work. I mean, you would assume it would be the same game plan for the 49ers, right? Jermichael Hasty, and let them go to work and just try to pound the ball on the ground.
But the difference with Kirk Cousins is actually the starter that they paid a lot of money to throw the ball. But when you look at the strength of San Francisco is probably running the football, where the weakness on Green Bay's defense is the middle linebacker position. So that's one of the things that scratch your head. Everybody talks about trade deadline, wide receiver they needed to help Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams in that group. They really needed some linebacker help. They just, for whatever reason, didn't address the linebacker position. And so you saw exactly what happened against Dalvin Cook and the Minnesota Vikings. And I'm sure Shanahan, who likes to run the football, has taken note.
A lot of times you hear people say, well, coaching is so additive. I feel like now when I watch the 49ers, it's Kyle Shanahan versus the Green Bay Packers. Like, that's what the matchup is to me, right? Like, no players in particular that I can call out for the 49ers. It's a coach's game plan, and how he's putting it all together to stop Aaron Rodgers and the Packers.
Okay, so it's time for Straight Talk, brought to you by Straight Talk Wireless. Let's go to the other side real quick with the Packers. When the Packers were embarrassed by Tom Brady and the Bucs, they bounced back the next week, housed Houston 35-20. It was a 15-point game. You'll understand what I'm saying here. Wasn't nearly as close as it seemed. Yes, 15 is a large margin win on the road, but they absolutely crushed Houston. The game was over at the half.
That was still with Bill O'Brien, though, correct?
That is still under Bill O'Brien. Haven't played too much better, but they did pick up a win without him. On the other side, they're coming off another loss, this one to the Vikings. Stunning in some ways, the way Minnesota did it with them running the ball, as Jay referenced. So, Key, how did the Packers bounce back tonight? The first time they came back with a vengeance. What are you thinking tonight?
I think when you look at it, they're probably going to have a similar game plan, a similar attack. Devontae Adams is back in the fold now, 2 weeks, so he's healthy. Lazard may come back. I don't know if he's out yet. I know he had some limited work, so they said that they're not setting a timetable, but he did have some limited work. But I think it's all on Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers has to go back into San Francisco and redeem himself in a team from that NFC Championship loss of a year ago. And I think that they'll be looking to do that.
So we'll see what happens. Last thing, I want to match Nick Wagner's stat with one of my own. Nick was really good on the Niners. Don't have anybody that touched the ball essentially on offense that played in the NFC title game against the Packers that's playing against the Packers tonight. How about this one? The last NFC team to make the Super Bowl after losing in the Super Bowl the previous season. That's exactly where the Niners are, right?
Wait, say it to me one more time.
This is exactly where the Niners are at this moment. The last NFC team to make the Super Bowl after losing in the Super Bowl the previous year. Okay? In the NFC Super Bowl loser, the ability to just get back to the Super Bowl, just get back. How long do you think it's been? NFC loser in the Super Bowl, just getting back to the Super Bowl.
26 years.
A little longer than that. The Vikings in 1973 and 1974. We're about to play Super Bowl 55 for a little perspective. That was Super Bowl 8 and Super Bowl 9. How about that?
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN Plus right now.